What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Stitched Up podcast with your boy Fuzzy and me, your friend Kyle. We have a lot to talk about today, and as you might see, you know, it's only been a couple days since we last posted. I'm telling you, we are going to be more consistent with this stuff, and the second half, you know, stuff's going to be jumping off, so we got to be here to talk about it with you guys. Fuzzy, how we doing, baby?
I'm doing fantastic. We actually have a banger of a podcast because we got no hitters. We have 3 or 4 trades to talk about. Mason Miller broke his own finger, and then his agent tried to cover it up, and then the manager of the A's said, "No, you will not be lying. We tell the truth here." It's just a crazy recap. Garrett Crochet is saying that he might not pitch if he gets traded, if he doesn't get an extension, which some people are saying that's the most selfish thing I've ever heard, because who are you, Garrett Crochet? You're a one-time All-Star. We have a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, we do. It's like the baseball gods were just like, you know what? We got to get Kyle and Fuzzy going. We got to make sure that things go down. So
they say, "Oh, the Stitched Up podcast is back."
Yeah.
Don't mind if we do.
It's perfect.
Yeah, and a lot of you guys have been wanting Spotify and Apple Podcast. I do have to wait a few days for the podcast to get reviewed on Apple, but if you go to the description, there is a Spotify link now. A lot of you guys found it on your own. Congratulations. But we're going to be posting these a lot more, and without further ado, I think we just jump straight into it because we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, but I know all of you guys have Spotify. I know you guys have it, so make sure you do what you got to do. Do you not use Spotify? You use your Apple Music?
I only got Spotify. I'm an Apple Music guy. I've always, because I've worked at Apple, so I'm kind of a fanboy, but I just downloaded it, and it's actually pretty solid.
Yeah, I love Spotify. I honestly love Spotify, but okay, let me clarify. I know most of you guys have Spotify. Make sure you do whatever you got to do to get notifications on that stuff. You know, check in on it.
Yeah, because we're trying to climb. There's rankings. There's like baseball podcast rankings. Mm-hmm. We're trying to climb the rankings because it seems like podcasts are the end all be all when it comes to, you know, growing a company or a brand or anything like that. So we're gonna treat this as serious as possible. And I think the first thing that we got to talk about, Dylan Cease. Did you guys see that Dylan Cease no hitter? Because not only did he finally get his no hitter, but after the no-hitter, I thought this was so cool. Once he ended the game, Luis Arraez somehow ended up with a game ball, right?
Yeah.
Luis Arraez was the same guy who ended Dylan Cease's no-hitter 2 years ago when he was with the White Sox. 8 2/3, no-hit innings, 1 out away from a no-hitter, and Luis Arraez sends one back up the middle. Fast forward to 2024, Cease, he gets the no-hitter, and Mr. Luis Arraez gives him that game ball. Like, just a special moment for everyone included.
Yeah, when I saw that C.J. Abrams contact on that last out, dude, I was like, I thought it was dropping. But
imagine if C.J., the former Padre, ruined the Padres no-hitter.
Yeah, those are 2 tough matchups to have, man, in your last out of your no-hitter. You know, you're 100 pitches in. It's like, okay, now you just have to face Luis Arraez or C.J. Abrams. You know, you're facing all-stars. But, yeah, he was able to get it done. That was impressive. Did you see that play with Xander Bogaerts where it looked like it was...
Dude, he had 2 of them. So I was doing my recap. I know the first one was where he was like backtracking at second base and it deflected to Jackson Merrill. Dude, in the 8th inning or something like that, he botched a ground ball, but he had to slide for it, so they would have called it a base hit.
Yeah.
And luckily, Kyber Ruiz has negative speed, so he didn't beat it out. But Xander almost botched it twice.
Yeah, that's it was the one in the 8th inning I was talking about where he just stuck with it, made the play. I didn't see the Jackson Merrill one, but...
Oh, you didn't?
No,
so
I didn't.
He's backtracking, and it's in his glove, and then it bounces out. So Jackson actually had to make the play.
Wow. Okay. No,
but
I
think they would have called it a base hit because he had to go probably like 80, 90 feet.
Yeah.
So I'll probably play that as we're talking. But one thing I do want to ask you real quick, what is your take? We talked about it a lot with Paul Skeens. He was taken out at like 96 pitches.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an arbitrary number, but it seems like baseball coaches in general have agreed upon 100 pitches is a no-go. As soon as you get to triple digits, your arm is going to turn into a plate of shredded chicken.
Yeah.
Mike Schilt, the manager of the Padres, wanted to pull him out after 7 innings at 94 pitches, and Dylan said, "No, you're at least letting me go 8." What do you make of managers kind of pulling the plug no matter what at 100 pitches?
I mean, I don't know. Like, when it comes to Paul Skeens and, you know, these young guys that are just coming up, I get it. Dylan Cease is like, you know, he's been around for a bit. I don't think it's really necessary to I definitely think you got to give him that spot, and they have a day off on Monday, and they have a day off on Thursday. So, you know, their schedule allows something like that. I think you got to let him go in that situation, you know, because he will get his days off. When you have something like that where, like last time against Arraez, right? That could have been his last chance to have a no-hitter. You know, you never know
Right.
when it's that last chance, and this could have been the last chance. And you know, it's a close game. It's not like if he was up 13-0 like that one White Sox game against the Twins, that's a game where it's like, you know what, is the no-hitter worth potentially an arm injury or something? But in a 3-0 game where it's close anyways, you got to just let him finish it out. And only 114 pitch count. It's not like it was a Lincecum one, you know, or Cole
like
Hamels one. So
Cole Hamels, right? Or
Yeah.
who was that other guy? He's been traded and been on like 17 teams. I don't remember.
Edwin
He was
Jackson?
with the Diamondbacks.
Edwin
yeah,
Jackson.
yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
He had 7 walks.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. But yeah, Dylan Cease, like, because I'm not gonna lie, even with the Tim Lincecums, you know, I'm a Giants fan. You guys know that. But with his no hitter, once it gets to like the 130s, 140s, it almost feels like there's an asterisk next to it, and there shouldn't be. But for some reason, it does feel like that, you know. But with,
That's actually a perfect transition. I was going to ask you a question.
yeah.
So people were talking about the last no-hitter that Cease almost threw, and they're saying, why wouldn't you just walk Luis Ariz? So like you're saying there's an asterisk. There would be an asterisk next to a Dylan Cease no-hitter if you walked Luis Ariz 1 out away.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't understand that mindset.
dude, it's at that point there's definitely an asterisk. You're up 13-0. You shouldn't be putting guys on base. Just the whole idea is that nobody can touch you. You're unhittable.
Exactly.
That's the point, right? Like,
Thank you.
You know, if you walk some guys, because Dylan Cease has 3 walks, right? I know he walked C.J. Abrams and walked Lane Thomas twice. I don't think he's pitching around them. I think he's trying to attack them, made a little mistake. That's different than intentionally putting a guy on to save your no-hitter. That to me is like you're losing in an NBA game and you miss a shot on purpose to get an offensive rebound to get a triple-double, right? Like, it's like, at what point does dignity
Like
start?
Angel Reese when she's down by like double digits
Yes.
and she's, please throw me the ball.
Yes.
Please.
That's exactly what it's like. Where it's like, dude, how important? Like, you know, the goal is to win too, right? Like, what are we doing here?
Right.
It's just not even
Right.
baseball anymore. So
No, I agree.
Yeah, you can't do that. But I am glad Dylan Cease got his no hitter. It was under 120 pitches, so to me it looks legit. You know, they're all legit, but the one, how many did Cole Hamels? How many pitches
I don't
did Cole
remember.
Hamels throw? Let me see. Cole Hamels.
I don't remember.
No hitter. I gotta see. I think it was like 140s.
I know it was a lot. And
Oh no!
by the way, we're gonna talk.
It was 129. I thought it was a little
That's
higher.
still
than
that's
that.
still a lot. That's still in modern baseball, like 2024 baseball. That is an ungodly amount.
Yeah, I think Tim Lincecum's was like 134 or something like that.
Okay.
It was.
Yeah, I remember that people saying, yeah, look at what happened to Tim Lincecum because they let him throw this no-hitter. Like, we can't say Tim Lincecum's career was ruined because he threw 130 pitches.
Nah, that's just.
You know what
not-
I'm saying?
People, oh my God! How many pitches do you think Tim Lincecum threw in his no hitter, dude?
I thought it was like 147 or
It's
154.
148.
148.
Dude, that is just
Yeah.
so. That's 1.5 starts right there. That's
And especially with how long his stride was, just the jamming that hip again. Because
Oh,
didn't he
God.
lose his career with a hip issue? It wasn't an arm issue, right?
yeah. I know he had multiple issues.
Yeah.
You know, there's like you said, you watch his wind up and his delivery. It's not shocking. You know,
No.
it's crazy, and then all that torque and everything. It's a lot, dude. And I also think people kind of figured him out as well. You know, as a mixture of both, and it just all was just like kind of like a landslide towards the end, which really sucks because you would have never thought his career would have the trajectory it had. You know, it's back-to-back Cy Youngs, strikeout champ for multiple years. It just looked. I went back and watched what he did in the playoffs.
He was crazy, man.
Dude, that first game against the Braves in the NLDS in 2010, dude, complete game, 14 strikeouts, I think 2 hits. You just don't see stuff
Timmy
like
was
that.
him, man. Timmy was him.
God, I miss him.
I mean, there are some pitchers in today's game that remind me of him. I think that Dylan Cease does remind me of like the nasty stuff, kind of not the biggest guy. I don't remember how tall Dylan Cease is, but he's got that wipeout slider. He's got the different sort of wind up and
He's
just kind of carries
6'2".
himself different.
Dylan Cease is 6'2", yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
because we just brought up Cole Hamels and no-hitters and stuff like that, I think it's a perfect time to let's talk about the Phillies.
Okay.
They just made a trade.
Yeah.
So 3 separate trades went down, actually 4 now that I'm thinking about it, because James Paxton, he got DFA'd and now he's going back to Boston. So real quick, James Paxton going back to the Boston Red Sox. That's the first trade out the way. The Phillies, they made a splash after The Mariners made a splash. So the Mariners, they got Randy Arozarena. The Phillies got Austin Hayes. So a lot of Yankees fans are saying, we won the deadline. We don't have to do anything because Austin Hayes and Randy are out the division. We don't have to worry about those guys in a playoff scenario. So there was another trade as well. So 4 trades. James Paxton to the Red Sox. A.J. Puck, he goes to the Marlins for a pretty fat prospect package. They get Davision de Los Santos, kind of like the Aaron Judge of the minor leagues. And another guy, I think his name is like Andrew Pintar. The O's, they trade Austin Hayes to the Phillies for Sir Anthony Dominguez and Christian Pache. And then obviously Randy, he's traded to the Mariners in exchange for a couple prospects as well. I think the big one, his name is Aiden Smith. So of all of those trades, the Red Sox are in the running for the wild card. The Mariners offense stinks, so they're trying to pick up on Randy's recent success. Austin Hayes, he's a lefty masher. The Orioles need some bullpen depth. And then all the other trades that we talked about. Which one do you think could play the biggest dividends going forward?
I really like the Phillies and Orioles trade. I think that's a win-win for both, honestly. If the Orioles can get a Sir Anthony Dominguez that pitches well, right? Like
he's got great stuff, but he's been getting hit this year for some reason.
Yeah. He reminds me of like what we were talking about with Coliseum when you get scared of him and you just feel like it's not there and you're worried about him, and like me with Camilo Duvall, where it's like you are so nasty. How are you getting rocked? It doesn't really make sense. But sometimes that change of scenery really does help. I do think Sir Anthony Dominguez could be nasty for the Orioles, and then like we talked about, like having that extra outfielder that can actually hit for Austin Hayes. You look at Austin Hayes and what he's done since June has really turned it up. I mean, he was batting before June, he was batting 173. He's brought it up to 255. He's batted like over 300 since June, the beginning of June. He's been doing better. So now
a lot of Orioles fans were like, this isn't a big deal for us because he hasn't been playing a lot. And I guess maybe he's had his job stolen by Heston Kjerstad.
Yeah.
So they traded him a year too late. They would have if they would have traded him last year after, I think he was averaging 50 plus extra base hits for 3 consecutive seasons. So
he was an all-star starter last year, wasn't he? I think he was
up there. I don't know if he I think he was actually one of those guys where it's like, how come he's not starting? I think he got snubbed. I don't think he started.
Let me see.
Or maybe he did. I could be wrong.
Dude, I'm like so sure.
But did you I think the guy's hitting, if you take a look while you look that up, the dude's hitting like 350 or something like that versus lefties this year. That's his only job for the Phillies now.
Yeah. Be All-Star Game 2023. I am curious because there was dialogue about him with the All-Star Game. I know he was definitely deserving. Players.
I know he started really hot, and I think everyone's like, how come he's not in the game if he's doing this well, blah, blah, blah. I'm pretty sure he didn't make it.
Semyon, whoa. What the heck? No, it's so, he got 2 at-bats. I don't know if that means he started, but I see Whit Merrifield on here. Was he an all-star last year? That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, the Jays fan base, all of Toronto voted for him, even though he should have never made it.
Oh, my God, dude, that's so dumb.
Yeah, dude, but Austin Hayes, he was an all-star last year with 36 doubles and 16 home runs, but I don't know if he started or not. But he got 2 at-bats.
Yeah. Well, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But regardless.
Oh, he did. All-star starters. It was
he did?
Hayes. Okay. It was Randy, Hayes, and Adolis Garcia. So, yeah, you got a better memory than me.
Okay.
So they got an all-star starting left fielder on the best team in baseball. That's crazy.
Yeah. No, that's nasty. And, we know what he can do. I'm waiting for playoffs. In playoffs, you'll really see, because both these teams will be in the playoffs. Both these teams should make a good run, and you'll really see, by the end of the year, we'll know who won that trade. You know what I mean? Like, it's...
What do you think about Christian Pache? Could he finally flourish with the Orioles? Do you think they might fix him? Because he's been floundering as a hitter. He plays, he plays beautiful defense. I can't even lie. Him and Cody Bellinger, when they play defense at their ceiling, it's so beautiful to watch. But the bat is just a noodle bat. Do you think that he can turn it around? And same with Sir Anthony. Do you think that they'll turn it around now that they have like a fresh start, or do you think it's going to be the same old Sir Anthony's got nasty stuff, but he's going to get rocked? Pache is going to be a 9th inning defensive replacement for an Anthony Santander if they're up by 7 or something like that. And the A's or Austin Hayes is going to hit lefties.
Yeah.
Is it going to play out like that and be that easy, or do you think it's more complicated than that?
I think they're so stacked that it just doesn't matter for Pache, right?
Yeah.
Like, they could just use him as that defensive replacement, hope if he gets an at-bat that he can make something happen in those games. But in reality, like, dude, look at their team, right? Even just their outfielders, Santander, Cedric Mullins, Heston Kjerstad, Colton Cowser, right? You have, they're just insane. It's actually scary.
See, now that you bring up like teams on paper, when you bring up the Mariners, they should be so much better than they are. So you got Randy going to the Mariners, right? And J-Rod's on the shelf. So they're trying to just weather the storm. But when you're talking about Randy Arozarena, J-Rod, Mitch Garver, J.P. Crawford's supposed to be better. You got Cal Raleigh. Luke Raley was really good last year. Who are some other guys? Jorge Polanco. So to me, the Austin Hayes trade is awesome, but it's just kind of icing on the cake. Same thing for getting Dominguez and Pache.
Yeah.
This Mariners trade is them saying, we have to save our season in the next 2 weeks because the Astros are coming. And also the Rangers, they got blessed by taking on the White Sox. So I think they've won 5 games in a row after the All-Star break or something like that.
Shit.
The Rangers, they went from 6 or 7 games back in the West. They're 2.5 games back. And DeGrom is coming back soon, as well as Josh Young. So that's kind of a mini deadline in its own. So the Mariners, this is kind of like their Hail Mary. They need Randy, and I think they're going to get one more bat. I think they're going to go for it this year because Gilbert's pitching insane. Castillo's been his normal self. You got George Kirby, Brian Wu, Bryce Miller. Do you think that Randy continues his recent streak of being the best hitter on the Rays? He's going to go to the Mariners and keep up that success, or do you think that it's just going to be one of those Hail Mary attempts that didn't work?
I think it goes back to like the Jazz stuff we were talking about yesterday. When you get somebody like Randy, like when you think of like some of the swaggiest dudes in the league, Randy's gonna be one of the first guys. Yeah, he's gonna be one of the first guys you think of. So when you get a guy like that who we saw the heart he had for Team Mexico and stuff, he could rally a team. He really could help a team really find some extra life, and I do think that that's a good move for them. I don't know if it's going to be enough to really, like, you know, help put the team in a position to take a deep run. I mean, their pitching staff is so insane, though, that they always could. But, I mean, with Randy, can
I throw you some stats?
Yeah, please do.
Over the last month, the Mariners are 39th, so second to last in OPS as a team. As a team, they're hitting .203 with a .292 on base and a .627 OPS. The only team worse is the White Sox. When you're in White Sox conversations, you cannot have that happen after going and getting a Mitch Garver, after going and getting a couple different pieces, making trades.
Yeah.
And this is, honestly, if you're asking me, this is the biggest trade so far. Austin Hayes, again, cherry on top. I don't know if he's going to be as good, but I think that Randy is about to have a Manny Ramirez to the Dodgers type trade deadline.
Really?
Like second half.
That'd be sick.
I think that Randy is about to absolutely destroy baseballs. I don't have any proof or I don't have any reasoning to think so. Otherwise, just vibes. He's Randy Arozarena. And when the clutch genes need to be had and he has to save a team and put it on his back, I think he's going to do it.
Okay.
He's their savior. Like Deadpool's Marvel Jesus, Randy is Mariners Jesus. He's got to come in clutch.
That'd be awesome to see. I'm worried that it's either going to be that or the complete opposite. You know, like I don't feel like
he just fizzles out.
Yeah, I don't think there's just gonna be like, Randy just, you know, he was okay. It's just gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think about? Do you think that they're planning for the future because he's not a free agent until 2027? Do you think that, okay, we need Randy for now and the future? Do you think that they don't care if they don't win it this year because there are so many other great teams in baseball that this is just like a safety net going into 2025 if they do spend more?
Yeah, I think it's a free roll, right? Like it's like, okay, maybe we make a run. I'm sure in their head it's like, let's make a run this year. But you know, you have a guy where if you don't, next year they're going to be a lot more healthy than they are currently right now. And well, you hope, right? And bad things can happen, but ideally at the start of next year, it's a clean slate. You have your studs back. You expect Julio Rodriguez to not be what he's been this year.
I know.
I mean, what is that, dude?
Aside from, like, he hit 400 for 2 months last year, right? When he wasn't in that crazy historic hot stretch, he was kind of average.
He was like just mid.
Yeah, like a lot of people kind of compare him. He's like the outfield version of Matt Chapman, where Matt Chapman, he might be the best at his position for 2 months, and then he's going to be one of the worst at his position. At least, you know, J-Rod and Matt Chapman, they're always going to provide Gold Glove, Platinum defense, right? But when it comes to consistency and getting on base, sometimes they lack in that department in terms of the entirety of a season. Yeah. They'll go on crazy hot stretches, whereas a Randy, I mean, Randy's been pretty consistent over the last few years, so the Mariners are just a weird team where they get guys and they pay them and then they just fall off a cliff, like a Polanco. What was the guy? Adam Frazier.
Adam Frazier.
I will say the Mariners did give up a pretty good prospect. A lot of Rays fans are like, "What are we doing?" But the Rays got a guy, Aiden Smith. I do want to mention him real quick. He's 20, And I know it's A-ball, so take it with a grain of salt. 26 doubles, 9 home runs, 28 stolen bases, and almost 900 OPS.
Oh, wow.
So he could be a little sneaky Rays guy in the future. But I guess final synopsis of all of these like big trades. We haven't talked about AJ Puck, but like the bigger trades, Randy, Austin Hayes. What would you give these big ones?
Well, I do think Randy is the biggest one because there's no more exciting thing in baseball than a trade deadline with a team who's borderline, right? Like
For sure.
One of my favorite trades of the last decade was the Mets going and getting Yoenis Cespedes at like
that was fun.
buzzer, right? Because dude, when they got, I've never seen, and I mean we could talk about Manny Ramirez, and that was crazy, but what Yoenis Cespedes did for the Mets in that second half, and then almost single-handedly like brought them a World Series, it was one of the dopest things I've ever seen. Like,
if you guys don't remember what Kyle's talking about, in 2015, in the second half in 57 games, Cespedes had 17 home runs and an almost 160 OPS plus. So he basically backpacked them.
It was just incredible.
That might be a better comp than Manny. Manny was like unreal. This might be a better. Actually, I like this more than my Manny comp.
Yeah, because Manny was still Manny, right? Like,
right.
With Randy and like with Yoenis Cespedes, everybody thought that was a cool trade because the Mets were having the best Mets year in recent memory. They hadn't made playoffs in so long, and they were in a position to battle with the Nationals to win that division. And I think it was the Nationals at that time that they were going head up with. But I remember there was one game where it was against Strasburg when he was just in his zone. And Cespedes hit a home run off of him, and then I think he might have hit, he just had a monster game. And it was just so obvious that team had so much momentum, and they just handled business that entire year until they faced the Royals. But that
was a Harvey year, right? Harvey was on the team?
Yeah, it was Matt Harvey, it was Syndergaard, it was
Thor.
all of them, because you remember there was that Alcides Escobar incident with Thor.
Oh, right.
It's crazy how good Syndergaard was, dude. Like,
little baby DeGrom and his 2.5 ERA.
Oh my God, yeah. I think
that was a stacked team. I forgot just how did the Royals win that? Was it just the power of friendship and speed?
Well, yeah, because that was the year after the Giants faced the Royals, and
That's right.
I was so confident in the Giants against everybody, and then when we were facing the Royals, I was like, we're gonna lose the World Series this year, because it felt like they were just so well rounded, and they just had it, right? Like it felt like the Royals were gonna win. When I saw that. I mean, obviously we beat them, and then when I saw they were in it again the next year, it's like, okay, they have that experience now. This might be it, and then they were able to do it. But you remember how good Daniel Murphy was?
Playoff Daniel Murphy he's a historical figure, my guy.
That was crazy.
Unreal. And then when they gave us that card in MLB The Show, one of my favorite cards of all time.
Oh, man. Him taking... You look at the guys that he took deep, and it was Jake Arrieta, John Lester, Clayton Kershaw, Zach Greinke. This is all off the top of my head. I can't remember. I think he took Cole Ham. Oh, was it Cole Ham? He just had the most monster run, and they were against phenomenal pitchers. How many home runs did he hit in that playoffs? Like 7?
It was like 7 or 8. I know that Randy passed him, but yeah, that's crazy postseason.
Man, that was awesome to see. I miss those days, dude, because I don't know what it was. The MLB playoffs felt so much more electric than they do now. And
it might have just been because we're kids. Everything felt more electric. Just like the nostalgic. Like you could smell Halloween coming. You could smell
Christmas,
and Christmas is in the air, and Halloween leaves, and it just everything felt different. And now we got bills and anxieties, and nothing feels joyful.
There's
anymore.
no time to smile.
There's no time to smile or have fun anymore. But yeah, dude, I miss those days, and I'm hoping that we get a much better, because our first or maybe our second podcast ever, we talked about how the World Series last year kind of felt like a dud.
Yeah.
Or like was it the matchup, or was it just the World Series they didn't market it well or something like that, and we just kind of figured it was a dud. But, I mean, do you think – okay, so actually real quick, now that we're on that topic, last year, Diamondbacks in the World Series, they just traded for AJ Puck. Do you think that actually helps them get back into a playoff run, because Paul Sewald's been a little bit iffy, and AJ Puck has been dominant, like absolutely frying folks out the pen. They did have to give up Dave Vizio and De Los Santos, who had like 24 home runs in the first half of AAA.
Yeah.
And then a guy, Andrew Pintar, who's like a speedster power threat. Do you think that keeping the Hispanic Titanic, Ivan Melendez, if you guys don't remember, he was with the Longhorns, I think, or Tennessee, crazy pop. They can afford to lose De Los Santos, but getting AJ Puck in that bullpen to help out with Paul Sewald end games. Jordan Montgomery looked fantastic the last time that we saw him. Do you think that the Diamondbacks can repeat and get back, or do you think the Phillies with an Austin Hayes they're too powerful this year, and the Dodgers, they're too stacked?
Yeah, no, the Diamondbacks, they're not making the World Series again. I think that took such a.
I wanted to give them some love and give them credit for at least trying to get better.
No, they do. Like now, I think they've. Well, I can't even say that the wild card race is so tight that
it's gonna be a movie. It'll be pure cinema to watch how the wild cards unfold.
Braves have a game to play with. Mets half game.
Yeah, so the Braves, they're facing off against the Mets. So Ramon, he botched that pop-up where he overran
Oh
it,
my
and
God.
the Mets walked him off. I didn't realize the Mets are now one game back of the Braves from knocking the Braves out the playoffs entirely.
Dude, that's
crazy.
so
The
crazy
Braves,
to think about.
I know.
Yeah.
I thought that, honestly, speaking of the Braves, I thought that they were going to pick up James Paxton. I thought that is a clear, they're going to get James Paxton, Chris Sale, some of these like big lefties that used to dominate baseball and fix them. They already fixed Chris Sale. Maybe he was fixed last year in the Red Sox. That's a bad trade. But, I mean, the Red Sox now get James Paxton. I don't know what the Braves are going to do at the deadline. Do you think that they're selling or the Diamondback? Like, there's just so many question marks when it comes to the National League. I feel like the AL, there are so many more solidified teams that, all right, that's going to be a division leader.
Yeah.
That's going to be a wild card team. The Cardinals are in it. The Pirates are in it. Are the Pirates going to get a big bat? There's so many fun. Like, this could be an all-time trade deadline, in my opinion. Like, when I woke up this morning to record, I'm like, this is fun. Baseball is cooking right now. Even though we haven't even had a superstar crazy trade, unless you think that do you think that Randy's in the superstar category?
No.
You don't think that he is after all the playoff and WBC success?
I don't think so. I think he's more of
a hot take
a
guy. I think that he's a superstar.
You think he's a superstar? I think he's
just based off his clutch genes. I think that it counts for something.
No, he has clutch genes, but that's like saying, I mean, well, I don't want to say Madison
Production-wise,
Bumgarner. That's
not a
almost
superstar.
Disrespectful, right? But
What?
I was gonna say, I've always been the one where, because of Madison Bumgarner's playoff success, there was always people around me that would compare him to Kershaw. And I never understood that. Kershaw is such a better pitcher, had such a better... If you take away the World Series, right? You take away the World Series, which is... I mean, in baseball, there's no more sport that's more of a team sport than baseball, where it takes to win a World Series, right? In NBA, Jokic can carry you to a finals. In the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes, if he's on a team, you have a chance to win a Super Bowl. We've seen with Shohei and Trout and stuff, that's not like that with baseball. One player can't do it, right? And so when it comes to the I was always dealing with Bumgarner being way too overhyped and overrated, which would set him up for failure in the regular season and stuff like that. You know, because he wasn't Kershaw, but people would always compare him to Kershaw. And I think that clutch can really help you and really make you look like a superstar player, like Randy's looked like sometimes, but in reality, what do you look like most of the time, right? I mean, Randy's a guy batting 210.
I get that. But I mean, I feel like if you are going to take a future Hall of Famer and put him in a playoff scenario, but still take Madison Bumgarner over that future Hall of Famer, I think that's got to count for something.
I agree. I agree with that. But that's the problem, right? Is Bumgarner is not going to be a Hall of Famer, right?
No, for sure, yeah.
And that sucks.
I think that I think that the only reason, I'm not saying that Madison Bumgarner and Randy are like MVP Cy Young level guys, but just because of how much their player image ballooned based off how clutch they were when the world was watching.
Yeah.
I think that they entered superstar status, and I say superstars as like everyone knows them.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
That's who I think a superstar is.
I get what you're saying.
But maybe I'm like,
just
I called Jarren Duran a superstar at the beginning of the season when he probably wasn't. I just saw the potential, and a lot of people didn't know. But now he's an all-star MVP, so is he now a superstar? So I guess the superstar definition, maybe I get too wish-washy with it.
Well, that's the thing, right? When you use the word superstar, it's all preference, right? You could have a totally different preference as I do. When I think of superstar, I think of somebody do they have a chance to be like a Hall of Famer? Are they a household name? Because, dude, you think about it. If we get some of our friends that don't watch baseball, they're not going to know who Randy Arozarena is.
True. I also called Spencer Steer a superstar, so maybe my definition needs some work.
Yeah. Okay, so me and you we'll agree that we have different definitions. But with Randy,
What about this? Do you think that Mason Miller is a superstar?
Kind of. Like I
That's
think
what I'm
he's going
saying.
to be. I think he's going to
Oh,
be a superstar. But you can't. It's almost like you can't be a superstar while you're on the A's. But to be a
okay.
superstar, you have to offer something that not a lot of people do. And there's a
Uh-huh.
chance that Mason Miller can just be a one-off closer, right? Where you're just like,
Could be.
this is him. If he was on the Dodgers and they won a World Series and he was coming in, you would almost feel that he was a superstar because you know people aren't going to be really hitting him. He's going to be under the stage. So I think there's a chance he will be a superstar, but I can't say he is right now. If that makes
Well,
sense.
he can't be right now because he can't pitch.
Yeah, what a dummy.
You know why? You know why? The whole story is just, it almost seems make believe, Kyle. So here's what happened. On Monday, after a win, mind you, a scoreless outing where they beat the Astros, Mason Miller goes to the training table. He's about to leave, and they say, hey, Mason, great game. We won. You got to go lift now. You can't go home until you lift. Mason wants to go home. He's frustrated. He takes his non-throwing hand, slams it into a padded training table. And let me just say, I don't know how soft a padded training table is, but you got to use some force to fracture a pinky by slamming it. So Mason Miller goes from the creme de la creme, you want to acquire this guy at the deadline to save your bullpen, to maybe he can't even get traded anymore. And then the manager called out the agent of Mason Miller. Mason Miller's agent said it was an accident. It wasn't that bad. Mason didn't do anything. And then Mark Kotsay, the manager of the A's, came out in an interview and said, we don't run our ship that way. We tell the truth here. He threw them both under the bus, said that Mason broke his own pinky and that the agent lied.
Wow.
What is going on in Oakland? Because Brent Rooker, Max Schumann, Lawrence Butler, these guys are on fire. The A's have the number one offense in baseball. And this happens? It just seems like, and also it happened at the same time that there's like a Bally's Corp, and they're kind of the one thing in the way of the A's building their ballpark in Vegas. They just got bought out for $4.6 billion. So it's like they move forward and then this moves them back. It just doesn't seem to end in Oakland. And also, they're jacking up the prices for the final home game in the Coliseum. If you want a third deck nosebleed seat, it's going to cost you almost $150. So, Kyle, you're from the Bay Area. You know more about the A's than I'll ever, you've forgotten more about them than I'll know. What do you think is going on with the A's? Because it seems like right when things start to look on the up and up, managers are calling agents and players liars. Things get sold, and the Tropicana is about to get, imploded, and the stadium's about to start getting built.
Yeah.
What do we make of the A's going forward? What the heck is going on?
The problem with the A's is
It's a long-winded story, by the way. My bad.
What's that?
It's a long-winded way to
No,
intro
you're
this next topic, by the way.
good.
My bad.
The thing about the A's in John Fisher and everything is that, like you said, I'm from the Bay. I've been here forever, and I've been a baseball fan forever, and we just don't know. We don't know what's going on with them, right? They have had so many one-off guys that are just studs.
Off the top,
you had
Eric Chavez.
Yeah, you had Cespedes. You had Josh
Zito.
Donaldson. You had, there's so many guys that they had. You could even bring up the Matt Olsons, the Matt Chapmans. But I'm even talking about days where they were competitive.
Semien.
And there's no need to. I just don't understand what they're doing ever. And right now,
do you think that that's going to change? Do you think that John Fisher was spiting the city of Oakland and saying, I will not invest because I invested the first 2 years of ownership and then you guys didn't come, and now I'm going to really hold it to you, and then now I'm going to steal your team from you? Do you think it really was personal?
Yeah.
Or because you have the perception of you're from there, so you can see just how I take this with a grain of salt. If you're from Oakland, how bad it's gotten. I put that in air quotes.
There's no air quotes.
I don't know how bad it is.
There's no air quotes. It's disgusting in Oakland.
Because if I'm on Twitter, Kyle, I promise you, if I talk about me being excited, it's nothing but Oakland fans hammering me saying it's not that bad, and that even crimes happen in Vegas. So there's,
brother,
it's the same.
They are very naive. If you think that downtown Oakland and the areas around Oakland are not bad right now, when I have to drive to my favorite golf course in Alameda, I have to drive through a part of Oakland that I used to work in. When I drove trucks for my dad, there was a quarry that's right there. So I used to have to drive on that street. It's off High Street, off of 880 in Oakland. It is nonstop tents across it now. It wasn't like that before. It's graffiti on everything. Dude, I've been in the Bay my entire life. I know I can recognize when it's gotten worse. San Francisco, you can't even go there right now. Like, it's
No.
foul. I used to skate there when I was a kid, dude. We would sneak out when I was like 14 and go skate on Embarcadero. Now, if I found out I had a 14-year-old who did that, brother, I would send him off to military school. I would be like, you put your life at risk. It is people doing hard thing.
That things.
Yeah. People doing hard versions of it right in front of you. You see the everything. You see it's just so.
That's how LA seems like as well. When we went for the All-Star game, I'm like,
Yeah.
what happened to LA?
Well, LA, so there's a part called Skid Row, right? Where
Right.
it's just the worst thing ever. Like, it's really the worst thing ever.
I remember we almost booked an Airbnb there, and I'm like, what's wrong with Skid Row?
No. Yeah. So Skid Row, that's how parts of San Francisco has turned into. There's parts of Oakland that are like that too. And don't get me wrong, I know there's a spot in Philadelphia that's really bad that people talk about, and I'm not saying that these are the worst places on earth. I'm just saying that they're one of them, and you don't want to be there. There's no reason. People come into my Twitch chat, Kyle, I'm going to the Bay. Which part should I look at? None of them. If you want to have a good idea of the Bay, don't come here right now. Unless, I mean, like with you, right? You come down here. I like to say I live in a good neighborhood.
Yeah, you do.
Well, you haven't even been to my new house.
Oh, that's right. That's the old one I still like.
Oh, that was a super nice neighborhood, but that was way out. That's not even close to San Francisco and Oakland. Right now,
gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha,
I'm probably I'm 20 minutes away from Oakland right now, but 20 long minutes if that makes sense. Like, it's quick to get there, but I'm not close to Oakland. It's hard to explain. And then probably 40 minutes away from San Francisco, but I put myself in a situation where I am nowhere close to that. And I'm very happy with it. But do not.
So you don't blame John Fisher for necessarily leaving.
Oh no.
And like let's say that like Mason Miller doesn't get traded now and he somehow stays, and that the A's build a super team for Vegas and everything's hunky dory in a few years. Will you feel like, oh, that kind of sucks, or do you think like the A's, everything that's led to this moment, it happened for a reason because of all of the off the field stuff, and it's not really anyone's fault per se.
Well,
I mean, no, politics really muddy the water, and
yeah,
there's like people like Gavin Newsom. Let's pick up the state now. It's up to the locals now.
Yeah,
it just seems very frustrating.
No, it would be bittersweet because I myself know I know some really diehard loyal Oakland A's fans that would love nothing more than to see a good team, and they really, it's been such a long time since they've got to see a good team, and they've been waiting for it. But at the end of the day, at a business standpoint, you put them somewhere else and give them a good team, and things could pop off, right? Best case scenario right now in Oakland, you give them a good team. You switch the Oakland A's with the Phillies team, and they still might not have good attendance. That's just how they are. The A's...
Kyle said it, not me. Everyone get mad at Kyle. I didn't say that.
A's fans don't show up until playoff time. And it's funny because, like, you
and they packed that one.
Oh, dude. It becomes the most electric thing ever. It's like a Raiders game all of a sudden. But I don't know, man. Like, when me and Troy
you can't make your payroll in the postseason.
Yeah. When me and Troy went there the other day and sat behind home plate.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Dude.
You were there a couple weeks ago.
It's horrible.
Did you see a possum?
What's up?
Did you see a possum?
No, I didn't see a possum, but I mean, you walk down to the VIP seats and you're walking on a flooded carpet that has like sewage water in it. You go, it's the
now,
worst.
A's fans will say it wasn't like that before.
It's the worst sport experience you could possibly have being there.
Damn.
You walk around. You have free reign to the whole stadium. Like you could go wherever and you could just sit there.
I mean, people have proved that by mingling mingling
yeah,
up.
That's right. That's
yes.
right. Yeah, me and Troy Dan made
it's
some
just
mistakes
a mess, man.
in the stands. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I guess my overall assessment on this and the question I want to ask is possums in stadiums, muddy, moldy rugs, announcer and broadcaster controversies, payroll issues, Mason Miller breaking his own pinky, then playing in Sacramento. Do you think that there is good news and like a light at the end of the tunnel for the Oakland franchise or just the A's franchise in general? Do you think that with John Fisher at the helm, they're always going to find bad luck?
It feels like they're always going to find bad luck.
So you're on the camp like, yeah, Oakland stinks, but also John Fisher did not help.
Yeah, it's like sell the team. That's the thing I'm
So
on.
you're in the camp of sell,
Yeah.
but also Oakland is Oakland.
Yeah, I mean, like, they have some electric guys right now, you know, but it's starting to feel like they're cursed. You know, I have no hope.
Will you go to the last game with me?
What's up?
Will you go to the last game with me? I've never been to the Coliseum in my life.
If you came, I would. But
okay.
I don't like the idea of them jacking. Like, it's just him trying to make as much money as he can before they leave. Like, he knows that it'll sell out for.
Okay. I'll go to a game before that.
Okay.
Because I do want to go at least once before it's no longer a thing. Because one of my biggest regrets is I never got to go to the OG Yankee Stadium. I just saw it from afar.
Mm-hmm.
And
you know what we can do?
There.
We'll sit right behind home plate because when I did it with Troy Den, I wasn't able to vlog. Me and you will do it. We'll vlog and then we'll post it on this channel.
Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah, we'll do little clips and stuff.
Yep, that'd be cool.
All right, I'm down.
And what if we did a podcast from behind home plate? That'd be sick.
I mean, we got the mics and everything, so we can do it.
All right, let's do it. And then obviously you can stay here for however long you want.
Yep. All right, so I think that kind of sums up what we're going to talk about the A's today and everything like that. One thing I do really want to talk about. Do you remember when Josh Hader refused to come in for a 4-out save?
I do.
And the business side, it makes sense. You want to get your money. You've been that good for that long. Get your contract, right? He kind of earned it per se, right? But it's still selfish at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Garrett Crochet is kind of pulling a Josh Hader, but in my opinion, I feel like you have more reasons to be upset at Garrett Crochet than a Josh Hader. Garrett Crochet has 180 big league innings, an injury past. He's only been a relief pitcher. This is his first year starting. He allegedly, these are the reports, take these with a grain of salt, says, if I get traded to the Yankees, the Orioles, the Dodgers, if it's a playoff contender, I will not step on the mound in the playoffs if I don't have an extension. Me, I feel like I'm an old man yelling at clouds. I don't like that. Like, Garrett Crochet is a dog. I think he's so good. But what have you proved and what have you earned to deserve and kind of not only ruin the White Sox chance of rebuilding for the future, not like they have had great success at doing that recently, but you're basically holding both teams hostage when you haven't proved, essentially, if you can even do it in the playoffs.
I agree 100% with what you're saying.
Am I being dramatic? Like, I love him. He's a dog, but I don't think he's the guy that should be saying this.
I also like the comparison with Josh Hader because it's like two separate things and on a similar topic, because you have a guy who has proven his worth, who has, paid his dues, who has, he's done a lot with Josh Hader. And then
and he was going into free agency. Crochet is not going into free agency.
Yeah, it's super strange. And I get what he's doing because there are teams that could use him. And I'm not going to lie, what he's doing is probably going to work. Maybe he will get the extension.
It's like holding out.
Huh?
It's like holding out in football almost.
Yeah, because I mean, in reality, he does have some leverage right now. Whatever team is going to be trying to trade for him, they do need him. So they are going to do what they have to do to make sure he pitches. It's just an easy way to, get the extended guaranteed money. But I don't know, man. Like, it's just such a nasty way to do it, right? Like, like you said, he hasn't done enough to even have this type of like leverage thing.
Right.
It sucks, but it's gonna work. So what can you really say?
I mean, if anything, that plays right into the Dodgers' hand, because if you're a Dodgers fan, you're probably more hyped up because you're one of the few teams that can immediately hand out an extension. Because I don't remember the last time we saw the Yankees make a trade and then get the extension then ASAP. But we saw it with Tyler Glasnow. Traded, immediately got extended.
Immediately.
Juan Soto goes to the Yankees.
That happened with Mookie too, right?
What?
Did that happen with Mookie too?
You're right. Mookie did it too. You're absolutely right. Yeah. So it just seems like that plays perfectly into the Dodgers' evil scheme of getting everyone healthy and getting reinforcements right when they needed to, and they're going to give the extension because Crochet's. But also, like, he's Glasnow 2.0, and Glasnow, I think, just came back from the IL because he's only thrown, I think his max pitch inning was, or what did I just say? A max innings pitched was 125. Garrett Crochet is at his max right now. Every time he throws a pitch from this point to the end of the season, he's setting a career high in innings pitched.
Oh, okay.
And that's fine. That's awesome. He's been an all-star, but I don't know about that, man. it kind of peeves me. But as long as he's out the AL Central, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine by me, man. If I never have to face him ever again, I'm cool with it.
Mm-hmm. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. When it's like, damn, how do you, when you come out and say that, it just feels so weird, right? And I wonder if it's gonna be off-putting for some teams. I know it's
get your bag, take care of your family, but time and place, my guy.
Yeah, and it's like you're gonna get your bag regardless, you know. Like
he's Garrett Crochet.
Yeah, but
so we just brought up the AL Central. I want to ask you one more question.
Yep.
Because we've talked about a lot today, and we will get better at like transitions and stuff like that. But I just want to make sure we're not taking up like too much of your time and getting everything talked about. Because we just talked about Garrett Crochet, I don't want Garrett Crochet in the AL Central. I don't want Bobby Witt Jr. in the AL Central. But also, I don't want to play the Royals in Kauffman Stadium in 2024. Here's why. Someone got bored, I guess, or I don't know who found this to be true, but it's basically been Coors Field. The Royals at home are striking out 11% of the time, hitting .414 with a 1206 OPS, Kyle. Those are, I can't believe I'm even seeing that. 11% strikeout rate, .414 batting average, 1206 OPS. On the road, they're striking out 21% of the time, hitting .270 with a 744 OPS. So a lot of people are saying, the Royals are cheating, the Royals are cheating, the Royals are cheating. But I will say, if you think that the 2024 Royals were cheating, you must have thought that the 106-loss 2023 Royals were also cheating. So why do you think they're going crazy in 2024 at home?
So
like,
were their splits the same last year, pretty much?
I don't remember. I didn't really do my due diligence. It was just kind of a fun topic. And I don't know if you knew, like, did they change the batter's eye or something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, what could possibly be going on for this to be that cavernous of a split? Because even the 2017 Trash Can Astros, their road splits were actually better. They were better on the road.
Yeah, so, that's the one.
And they cheated.
Yeah, that's the one argument that you have with the Astros. It's like, yeah, they were caught cheating. We understand, but can we not pretend they weren't great? Because they
like a Larry Walker or Todd Helton, like they only did things they did things on the road too.
Okay,
but this is where it's the inverse. They're only doing well at home.
Yeah,
so that's what a lot of people are saying. The Royals are cheating. I don't think so, and I could be a salty Guardians fan. I just think for some reason the way that they see the ball out the hand in Kauffman, I don't think that's cheating. It's just, and guys have said that before. I will not play here because the batter's eye sucks. People have said that before. So what do you think could it lead to something like this?
It's like, could it be that much of a difference though, right? Like the batter's eye, because dude, the strikeout numbers are double on the road.
That's what I'm saying.
Right? I think that's where you got to look at when it comes to the cheating allegations. Forget the OPS.
And the walk rate, Kyle.
Huh?
10% walk, 9% walk rate to a 3% walk rate.
Yeah.
That's insane. Yeah. Actually insane.
Because of all the other stuff, right? Like stadiums, elevation, none of that matters if you're not making contact with the ball. Like you have a team that just struggles with striking out. They're going to strike out anywhere. They're going to strike out at home, right? Mm-hmm. Like the Coors example. The Rockies could hit a lot more home runs at home than on the road, but their strikeout numbers are probably going to be looking the same, right? Because you have guys that strike out, and elevation can't really affect anything if you're not making contact with the ball. So I just don't know how to justify why their numbers are like that. I can't imagine the batter's eyes being that different, right? Like it's strange to me.
I just wanted I don't think anyone has an answer for it, and I just thought it was a fun little topic, and I don't know if you had information like, oh, they changed something. Dude,
I'm gonna look up the 2023 Royals road
splits,
home splits, because I really, because their roster isn't very different right now, is it?
There's a few. I mean, most of them, aside from Nick Prado, are pretty much like the same, and Edward Olivares, who's on the Pirates now.
Yeah.
Like Freddie Fermin gets more at bats.
Okay, so last year 263 at home, 223 on the road.
You see what I'm saying?
On base percentage was 325 at home, 280 on the road. They struck out
still better.
Oh, they struck out 190 more times on the road.
Now again, this is all circumstantial. We are not saying the Royals are cheating, but it's even confirmation like they were better at home last year when they went 56 and 106.
Yeah, I mean it's great because I mean it's 81 games on the road, 81 games at home. It's I mean literally they had 4 more at bats at home. It couldn't be more even. And damn, over 100 more runs at home, over 100 more hits at home, more doubles at home, more triples at home.
Yeah,
more
so you
home
guys got to
runs
let
at
us know
home.
in the comments. If you're a Royals fan, if you're a AL Central fan who's just salty, whether you think it's home and away, that's just how it goes in sports. Do you think it's a crowd thing? Let us know in the comments. Why are the 2024 Royals hitting 400 at home and not even 280 on the road? Like, they're literally Aaron Judge in the box with Ted Williams at the same time at home. So I think that's a fun topic. And
So crazy.
I think we pretty much wrapped everything up, right?
I think so.
Unless you got anything for us.
Blake Snell is being made available for trade talks and stuff
No.
like that. I mean, they're. Let me see.
Don't you know him?
What? Yeah. No, I mean, I've done.
Can we get a live confirmation of that?
Yeah. I don't think so. He's
No,
not very It's so funny. I'll talk if I'm talking to him about like video games and stuff. He'll be like he'll respond so quick. If he like has a crazy good outing and I'm like, hey, great stuff today, he'll never respond. And I'm just like,
really?
okay, I don't know. Yeah, because he was like, because he lives pretty close to me now, and so we were like, dude, let's go grab dinner one night and stuff like that. And then we just have never ever talked about it or anything. So I just don't
Really?
know. Yeah, like I don't know.
Who picks up the tab in that situation?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah,
Who picks it up?
I always offer to because I feel like I'm hosting them. Like so
Right.
with Lucas Giolito, right? Every time we've ever gone out, it's him visiting me. So we'll go out dinner, and then I always offer to pay, and he's like, "No, dude, I got it." And I'm like, "No, dude, for real. Like, I'm hosting you," and he'll just kind of
Right.
look at me and be like, "Dude, I'm rich. Come on." And it's just like, "All right, fine."
Just at the end of the day, it's that cutthroat and dry.
But like he
I'm that
doesn't
guy.
say it in a douchey way because it'll be like, no, dude, let me get this one. But then like I'm so persistent on paying for it because like yeah, he's a Major League Baseball player who makes a lot of money, of course. But like we do well as well. We could pick up a tab, right? Like I don't feel like a peasant when I'm around him. But there comes a point where he's like, Kyle, come on, man. Like just let me do it. Where I'm doing okay. And then it was funny because we had one topic when we were at home and we were drinking and stuff. We were doing a stream and recording a video where he was drafting my BR team, and then he was taking an Uber. Back to the hotel, and he bought like the most expensive Uber. And I was like, dude, just crash here and I'll like drive you in the morning. And he was just like, nah, like I'm gonna just grab this Uber. And he's like, I don't mind it. And I'm like, why do you pay so much for the extra SUV when you could just get a regular one for like $200 cheaper? And he goes, well, like when you think about this, and then he shows me like a screenshot of what he made and like, what he makes every 2 weeks. And I was like,
no.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, that Major League money is different, huh?
It puts it into perspective, Fuzzy. It's
The 2-time Cy Young money is just
like,
otherworldly.
He makes like my best year in 2 weeks. It's just doesn't even make sense.
I just want to see that. Not. I don't want to pocket watch, but I just want to see those numbers as motivation.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you off once we're done. Obviously, it's crazy, man.
Okay.
It's just like, yeah. It's
okay.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Right. That's a lot of money. So me as a Guardians fan, we cannot afford him, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy though because you hear the deals, right? When you hear like the multi-million-dollar deal and stuff, and then you're like, okay, that's a lot of money. But when you break it down into the 2 weeks, it doesn't. You would think it would be lower than what I'm going to tell you. Because you're just like, how does that even make sense mathematically? But yeah, it's just crazy. These guys make so much money.
It makes me wonder how much money So Florida is a state where there's no state income tax, right?
Yes.
It makes me wonder how much money Tua is, because it just got announced 20 minutes ago that he signed for 4 years, $212. How much money is that every 2 weeks?
It's a lot. Yeah.
Like per start, what is that, 18 starts?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Anyways, we could talk about football when football comes around as well. We got so much. I'm just so happy that we're back and doing this. This is so much fun, Kyle. I just want to say, like, thank you so much for doing this with me. I know that we sidewind a lot and I try and get to topics in a weird way, but this is so much fun, man. I can't wait to do more of these football and basketball and everything that we have coming down the pipeline. This is just great.
I truly look forward to these so much, and it reminds me, like, you don't realize how much you miss it once you go so long without posting it. But then it's like you see all these news, and it's one thing to see the news and just be like, oh, cool, like it's just trades. Like we love trades. It's another thing to see them and know like we get to talk about this. We get to break these down.
Exactly.
It makes it a lot more fun.
I get to do my recap twice, and I love doing recap.
Yeah. No, you probably have fun with recap every single day, right?
Sometimes it's a lot. Like if there's a doubleheader, which means there's like 17 games. Oh, it's brutal to script it. And then sometimes my brain just doesn't work where like I'm trying to do my script recording and it's just fumbling after stammering, and I just get frustrated with myself. But I don't know why on a podcast my brain seems to work better, but when I'm recording, bro, it's bad.
Yeah, no, I guess.
So it gets frustrating. But in terms of like the trade deadline and the off season, those are my favorite parts of recap. The season can get a little, every day feels the same sometimes, but that's why I try and spice things up. But that's why this is going to be a lot of fun, because there are things in a recap I want to talk for 5-10 minutes about, but I can't because I got to get to other games. So this is where this is perfect. Like today I could only talk about Mason Miller for a couple minutes. Yeah. We could actually talk about Oakland and their future and everything like that. So this is perfect, man. No, and also thank you guys for always supporting as well. I know we've been hit or miss, but I promise you guys, this is sticking. Like we're excited, and seeing your passion in the comments is super, super motivating, and we got you guys, we promise.
Yeah, and if you guys happen to stumble upon this and you guys are watching this for the first time or you guys are returning, make sure to just double check if you guys are subscribed. It takes 1 second to click that subscribe button. Absolutely free to support, and we would really appreciate it because, you know, we do have a goal with this. Me and Fuzzy are very competitive people. We know we do good stuff. We would love to get this podcast to a point where we could really, you know, get it open to everybody and climb that Spotify chart too, you know? Yeah,
Daddy. We're gonna do it, I promise you.
I know we are. Because everything me and you have ever done, we've worked hard on it and we've made it work. We're gonna do it again right now.
We know what the people want.
Yep, exactly. So,
all right, guys, that does it for today's Stitched Up episode. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. And again, do what Kyle says. It really helps out the channel. Subscribe, leave a like, use code Fuzzy and all that different stuff. And Kyle on SeatGeek and Underdog Fantasy. You guys can find all that stuff. And thank you guys for watching.
Yeah, thank you guys very much. And I hope you guys have a blessed weekend and you guys, you know, get everything done that you want to get done.
Love you guys.